Today I'm going to tell you why I purchased the GoPro Hero 8 over the DJI Osmo Pocket as well as their action camera. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, folks. My name's Shane. I've done so much research over the last few days. I must have spent 5 hours just yesterday going through all the videos on YouTube that I could find comparing the GoPro Hero 8 not only to the Osmo Action, but also to the Osmo Pocket. Initially, I wanted the Osmo Pocket because I really love the idea of that gimbal. I have an actual gimbal over here. This is the DJI Ronin S, and I use this with my GH5s and G85 cameras, and it works beautifully. I then downsized and got the SC, which is the smaller gimbal, thinking that would be way more practical to travel with, and it was an absolute behemoth. So I started looking at my options, and I was shocked at how great the image stabilization was on the Pocket, the Action from DJI, and also on the GoPro Hero 8. Now, there's some trade-offs with all of these cameras. I'm not going to say this is the perfect choice, because it isn't. It's really dependent on what you want to use it for, and for what I wanted to use it for. And looking a little bit long-term, for me, this was kind of like the best option as of right now, and I'm going to explain why. This video is not going to convince you to buy one of these cameras over any of the others, but for what I wanted to use it for, this seemed to make the most sense. So for those who don't know what the Osmo Pocket is, it's a really tiny handheld camera that also has a mechanical gimbal, and it works very much the same as this guy over here, but it's tiny, and I thought this is going to be the perfect camera for me to get shots walking down streets that look smooth while I travel overseas without the need for that. And in many ways, it may still be the best option for what I wanted it for, but there was a couple of things that were really killing me. I heard so many bad reviews about its autofocus performance, especially if your face is in shot. If you're just walking down the street shooting, it's probably going to be fine, but I noticed a lot of pulsing, very much like how Panasonic cameras work with their autofocus. That contrast detection autofocus isn't always that accurate. I think they've sort of remedied that to some extent, and there's a few workarounds, but I didn't trust it enough to want to use it. Now, I'm not going to be using it a lot for vlogging, but I may use it a little bit while I'm away. So it was a bit of a deal breaker to have inconsistent or maybe not trustful autofocus at my disposal. I wanted something that would capture everything, so it was either out of this guy right here, the GoPro Hero 8, or I could have got the DJI Osmo Action. Now, the other reason I didn't want to go for the Pocket was once the battery inside dies, you basically bricked your unit or you have to pay to get it replaced. This has interchangeable batteries, as did the Osmo Action. So I was really on the fence about both, and there was some stuff that I absolutely loved about the Osmo Action, and it was a fair bit cheaper than this as well. And I thought, yeah, I think I'm going to go for that. But after seeing a lot of AB videos, there were two things about the Osmo Action that really lets it down. Even though it has so many great features and it's great value for money, there were just a couple of things for my personal use that I felt like it was a little bit limiting. So the first thing that really killed the Osmo Action for what I wanted to use it for was the lag on the screen. So if you're looking at the screen, you wave your hand in front of it, and I saw this on countless videos, it would almost be about half a second delay. So imagine looking at the screen and you turn it, and then it turns. So it takes that split second to actually catch up with you. That would be very disorientating, and if you're framing a shot and it's lagging, it's going to be a little bit awkward. So at the sacrifice of not having a front-facing screen, I have a real-time screen on the back of this, and being that I'm going to be behind the camera most of the time when I use this, it will hopefully be pretty cool. There's another huge reason I went for this over the Osmo Action, and that's the autofocus. Now, these are both set to infinity autofocus, which is interesting because what I've seen on a lot of channels, including the Camera Conspiracies channel, which is a really great channel. If you don't know it, I'll link it up in the cards and you can check it out, was the fact that once you really pay attention to someone in the foreground of the video, it doesn't look as sharp as the background. And I saw this time and time again on countless videos. The stabilization is awesome on the Osmo Action. It had a lot of things going for it with the dual screens, but I tell you what, there's something about the focus that's just not quite right. So I wanted to go for this. The GoPro Hero 8 is by no means a perfect camera either, and I think we're still on the quest to find the perfect solution for everything and everybody. But that said, for what I want to use it for, a small compact camera where I'll be behind it predominantly walking with a little tripod, or I'll set it up in the car and do some driving shots, this is going to be fine. I also really like the sound I was hearing from the onboard microphone. It's very functional, very usable, straight out of the actual box here. So that's a positive as well. One of the other reasons I really loved the idea of this was just the color straight out of camera. It looked a little bit more vibrant, and this is all subjective stuff. A lot of people like that sort of cine-like D profile, and this will do that as well, as will the Osmo Action. But I felt like the straight out of camera colors were a bit more sort of boosted in terms of their saturation, which was a huge plus for me with this. When I travel and I'm doing a lot of editing on the road, I don't want to have to fiddle too much in terms of color grading and all that kind of thing. I'll probably reduce the saturation slightly just from the shots, but it's a lot easier than trying to correct sort of a little bit of a lackluster feel from the DJI Osmo Action. I just felt like the colors were just that little bit bland, and this is without using the cine-like profiles. I saw some amazing shots, especially from one YouTube channel that did a walkthrough of Perth in Australia here. I'll leave that link up in the cards if you haven't seen that. It looked beautiful with that camera. And that was the selling point. But after doing some talking to a few people and after watching some more videos today, I felt like the GoPro Hero 8 will tick more boxes for me. Now, the kind of filming that I'll be using with this won't be super wide angle, but you do have that option. This will do a wider field of view than both the Pocket and the Osmo, like by quite a lot. So if that's important to you, the Hero 8 will probably be the best choice. If that's not important to you, then one of the other ones will be fine too. I want to use this to do basic walk around footage, as I mentioned. Instead of having to break out the GH5 and walk with that, from what I've seen, the stabilization in this will tick a lot of boxes for what I want it for. The color profiles look great. It looks like it comes with everything I need in this box. So if you're into the GoPro Hero 8 and all of the things that might come along with this, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell. So today's video is a basic overview of why I purchased this over my two other options. Sure, there's other options out there, but the ones that really spoke to me in terms of features and functionality was this, the Osmo Pocket, and then also the Osmo Action. Like I mentioned, I think the Osmo Pocket would have been the perfect solution had they have not just had a built-in battery. I think as a long-term investment, it's a waste of money because eventually the battery will go. And if you're anything like me, I take care of my stuff. It'll last for years, and being able to just buy another battery to replace it is so much easier. So hopefully the second version of that, whenever it comes out, will actually have an interchangeable battery. But for what I wanted it for, this was pretty much the closest thing I could get in terms of microphone quality, field of view when I did need it, stabilization, color straight out of camera, as well as just the focus. I just felt like this was the closest thing I could get at the trade-off of not having that front screen, which I guess we'll find out if it's a deal breaker. So what am I going to be doing with this on the channel? So if you're not already subscribed and you're into this kind of stuff, please subscribe. I'm going to do an unboxing, first impressions video, all that kind of thing. And then we're going to do a big deep dive review. I paid for this, it wasn't free or anything like that. So if you do want to find out more about this, links will be below as well. But yeah, when you invest your own money into something as opposed to getting something for free, you tend to make the most out of it. You tend to want to make it work. And I'm one of those kind of guys. I like to get things to work the best way that I can for my kind of work. And I'm hoping that my videos coming up of how I use this will be applicable to different people out there who might not want to be using it for snowboarding and all that kind of stuff. Just regular Joes who might want that cinematic feel as well from time to time, but just something that works and that's stable, that captures everything in focus. So that's my theory with this. We'll see if it actually ends up the way that I hope it does. But yeah, thanks for watching. My name's Shane. Please let me know in the comments which one you got, and if you're thinking about buying one, let me know what you're thinking about, because man, I've been racking my brains for the last few weeks, and this is my first action camera. And over the last few days, I've really just come to the end of the search, and I figured as of right now, this was probably the best option for me, but fingers crossed, that's actually the case. Thanks for watching. My name's Shane. Stay tuned for more videos, and I'll catch you soon. See ya.